First of all, just want to say how excited we are to play in the Quick Lane Bowl out in Detroit, Michigan. Very familiar with that stadium. Last time we were there, I had a chance to win a MAC championship, which was really impressive. And just an incredible venue, incredible opponent in Georgia Tech. Had a lot of impressive victories this year. And I'm really proud of our football team. A team that found a way to get 6-6, youngest team in America. All the adversity we had, some of our best players being hurt and being out since the beginning of the season. A lot of adversity coming their way, the way they were able to handle that. The last 3 games, winning 2 of 3, 2 against 2 really good bowl teams, and then 1 against the Big Ten West champs, which you got a chance to see them last night in the Big Ten championship. So it's been a tremendous year. I think this team has overachieved in a lot of areas, and I'm very excited about having the opportunity to get the extra practices, especially for our young guys. Now, Georgia Tech presents a lot of different challenges where you have to switch up your defense and not necessarily play your defense, but we're going to do that in the first. We're going to take care of us for a while, for the first week or so, and sprinkle in some Georgia Tech. Then once we get to the next week, we'll be able to get into them heavily. So we've got to finish up a lot of recruiting as well, but it's incredible news. We're so excited. We're excited for our fans, excited for our state to be bowling again, and it's a huge accomplishment for this program and this individual team. And the specific team to be able to do what they just did, especially at the end of the year, and win at Camp Randall, which you haven't won at since 1994, and get the axe back after 15 years. So, we get to celebrate Christmas and then the holidays and the holiday season over there in Detroit. So we're excited. So with that, I will open up for questions that you have.
What's your philosophy in a bowl game? Is it to win, or is it to have fun, or is it to
all of them?
Yeah.
Anytime you play a game, your object is to win the game. It doesn't matter if it's regular season, championship football, bowl season, scrimmages that we have. Whoever's playing against each other want to win, but it's being a winner first and taking care of all the right things and doing all the right things, but we're excited about the opportunity. Really excited about the opportunity, and we have a lot of work to do. I think the biggest thing this allows us to do is, 1, get the upperclassmen out on a very positive note in terms of a bowl game, and 2, it gives us a chance to really develop those young players. We get an extra spring ball in the winter, and we're going to take advantage of that. We already have. We've already practiced a lot last week, and we're going to continue to practice. We're going to continue to be recruiting and getting back and going out recruiting and coming back. We are going to make sure that we take advantage of both. So it's going to be a sprint all the way through signing day. Then we'll be able to enjoy the bowl festivities out there in Detroit.
What will bowl practices be like?
They're going to be a combination. The first week, it's really going to be Minnesota versus Minnesota. We're really just going to get better at us, a lot of individual, and then we'll get into a lot of team 7-on-7, work on every situation, every area of the field, really just get better at us. And then now that we have our opponent, come Wednesday's practice, we'll start working on that opponent in a small group of practice, a small part of practice and group. And then once we get to the second week, it'll be a Minnesota, Georgia Tech combination. And then when we get to the last 2 weeks, it'll be all Georgia Tech. So that's the way we're structuring this. Especially, everything's changed. Everything's very, very different now because of where signing day is. And last year we weren't in a bowl game, so we didn't have to experience that. This is very different, and it's different for everybody because you have signing day December 19th. We plan on signing all of our recruits at that particular moment. Plus, you've got to work in meetings and lifts and practice and coaches being back. So it's a tremendous challenge, but it's one of those challenges you really want to have, and we're excited about it.
PJ, when you took this job, what did you think was a realistic expectation for getting this team to a bowl game? Did you think it was going to take a couple years, or what was your anticipation?
It's hard to be able to say when you first take the job, and then when you kind of get in to see all the inner workings and you be able to see all the challenges, all the opportunities, and what you have to do. I think when you look at our roster and you look at we're the youngest team in America playing in a Power 5 conference, that's very difficult to do what this team just did. And I think from the outside perspective, they've overachieved. I think they did exactly what they were capable of doing. They had to learn from their failing. They had to learn how to handle success. They had to be able to respond to tragedy. They had to respond to all different types of things. So I think this team has really grown up a lot from the beginning of the year to where it is now, and they've had to be able to grow up really fast. They had to mature maybe quicker than I thought they would, but we're exactly where we should be, and we earned everything that we got, and that's why I'm really proud of the teams. They had to earn every single thing, and have come back and win 2 out of the last 3. One against, you're playing the Big Ten champion, and then the other 2 are very, very tremendous opponents that are both in bowl games, and one you haven't beaten 15 years. So, that's very difficult to do. And they had their back against the wall, and I think they showed their character and the integrity of their fight and what this program's all about.
How much of what happened in Madison with getting the axe and getting bowl eligible was a message on the road?
Well, I think it was just a message for our program. What we want to always do is we talk about a crack on our shoulder, always proving to ourselves we are who we say we are, right? And if we want to, one thing about talking about it, it's another about doing it. And we talked all along. When I got here, everybody said, all you got to do is beat Wisconsin. All you got to do is beat Wisconsin. All you got to do is, which I figured out that's not necessarily true. But you go into that rivalry game knowing what is on the line. It's not only just beating somebody you haven't beat for 15 years, haven't won there on the road since 1994, let alone if you win, you go to a bowl game. If you lose, you're out. To have all that pressure, all that expectation, all of that against them, and be able to play the way they did, I think, it's 37-7 with a minute or two to go. I mean, you saw how they played, and that's what they're capable of playing week in, week out. As I said at the beginning, with this team, the problem and the struggle has been consistency, which you expect from a very young football team. We've got to be more consistent. The opportunities give us that in terms of the bowl practices as well.
How challenging is it facing a triple option team?
Very different, Randy. It's very different, man, because, when you play I could say a normal style offense or a more traditional style offense in college football these days, that's what your defense is really made to stop, and that's what you're training every single day. Whether it's two back or wide open or spread or those types of things. But when you get a triple option team, everything changes. And now people are going to play possibly different positions. You're going to see some of our players play different positions. You're going to see maybe some people haven't played a lot play more. And we're going to it completely changes the style. However, we're going to play an option team next year in Georgia Southern, so it helps you prepare that way already. You'll start to get some practices already into that. And we got 3-4 weeks to be able to get a lot of work done.
When was the last time you faced an option team, if at all, in college?
Oh, no, Georgia Southern back at Western Michigan. We played them 2 years in a row. We played them one down there in Statesboro and one we played at home at Western Michigan. So very familiar with it. We all are as coaches. You know what you have to implement when you play a triple option team. What makes them very dangerous is they're very good at it. I mean, they beat tremendous teams all year. They blew out teams at times. And they have just as many weeks as we do to prepare on what they do really well. So I think it's a tremendous matchup. We're excited about it, and it's just going to be a tremendous venue.
Was the team all gathered together when you guys found out?
It's hard these days. It's so hard to keep anything a secret. I mean, I'm finding out just before I came down where it becomes official. I found out probably a half hour ago that could possibly happen. The minute I find out, I think I'm the only one to know. I'm walking down the hallway. I hear players are all over the place right now because they're upstairs or watching film. We have lifts, we have workouts, things like that. But right now they're not doing a lot, so they're just here kind of hanging out. And I walk into a room. I heard we're going to Detroit. I'm like, how'd you find that out? It's so hard to keep things secret. And it's not like the days where you're the only one that knows. Call them into a big room, do this big unveil. That's harder to do in today's day and age. And sometimes you can prepare. I even remember when we were doing the Cotton Bowl at Western Michigan, it was so hard to even keep that a secret. I don't think that was a mystery, but it was still hard to keep it a secret. And you're saying, all right, now when you get the announcement, now act all excited, be ready to go, and then pretend like it's the first time you heard it. But I'm just excited our players are so into who they're playing, where we're going. That's the excitement of the holiday season, is being able to get to a bowl game, have your players excited about who they're playing, where they're going, and now they can spread that to their family and get everybody out there.
How big is
As with Paul Johnson and all, and obviously it's a big game for him.
Yeah, I mean, I have not spent much time around him. I don't know him very well. I know he's a tremendous football coach, been around a long time, and one of the most successful head coaches. I've been around for a very long time, so I know he runs a tremendous program, and I know that, I know they're gonna, whatever happens in their program right now, I know they're gonna want to go out and win the football game. No matter what the situation they're going through right now, they're gonna want to, put their best product on the field and go win a game.
How big a step is this in building your program to national prominence?
It's the next right step, and that's what we share with our program. When we're ready to take the next right step, we have to take it. And I think that was what we were ready to do at Wisconsin. We had to take the next right step, do something that hasn't been done in a long time. We haven't won a championship in 51 years. Obviously that's one of the next steps. Is that the next right step? I don't know. But that's one of the steps we want to be able to take eventually. And you'll have to take certain steps to be able to get there. You got to crawl before you walk. You got to walk before you run. And, we got here and we started over. That's the whole progression that we thought would possibly happen. And we look back, and a lot of you like to compare, where you were before and what you were doing. Year 2 at Western Michigan, we were able to get to a bowl game. And I think that was a huge step for us. And we didn't end up winning that bowl game, but it was a huge step for that team to go from 1-11 to 8-4, and then get to a bowl game and have that experience. And then for this in year 2, for this young team, which was way younger than what we had at Western Michigan, to get to that point with the amount of young people that are playing for us and inexperienced players that are playing for us, I think that's a big feather in their cap.
You said that Western, that that second year you didn't win the bowl game, but it sounded like if you did the season as a success, would that be the same case? You know, win
Yeah.
or lose the bowl game. this
Yeah,
year?
I never look at successful seasons as what the number total is. I mean, there's so many things that go into in terms of the success. Success to me, we use John Wooden's definition: the peace of mind you get from knowing you did everything you could be the best you could be. That's true success. Right? There's coaches all over America who are incredibly successful people who lose their job. Does that mean they didn't have success? No, that doesn't mean that. That means at one point they didn't win enough games, but they had success, or they wouldn't be in that position that they're in. And same with those players. So for us, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at to be the most successful team we can be. We have another opportunity over the next 4 weeks to become even more successful, and we're going to take advantage of that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, Christmas in Detroit.
Hey.
Let's go.